If you blink, you miss all of what's been happening. And what's been happening now, man, it's insane. The AI world has been going crazy. OpenAI is killing tomorrow. Helping lawyers extend their educations. Who knows what's been happening, right? What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to another episode of Autonomous Income. I'm your co-host, Deuce Noble.
And I'm your co-host, DJ. What's been going on, Deuce?
Hey, man, another day, another dollar. Notice anything different,
hmm
huh?
I know it's a lot different. You out
Hey,
there
man, we
stunning.
got
You,
some we
you ain't
got
got
some
to,
upgrades.
you ain't
We
got to
got a little bit
stunt.
of
You know what I'm
upgrades.
saying?
Hey, man, all I'm saying is welcome to the pod, and we're trying to make this a better experience for all of our listeners and
Stepping up the
viewers.
production quality. I see
So,
it. Yeah.
we're trying to do our part, make it look legit. But yeah, man, so today it's been a long couple of months in 2026. We are nearing the
Weeks,
end of the
months,
first quarter, 26. Can you believe it just went by that fast?
man.
Man,
It flies by. It really does, man. And there's
and
been so
and
much going on in tech and AI, and
listen,
just in all of these aspects. There's been a lot. So
and I
we're gonna
promise
cover a
you,
lot of ground.
if you blink, you miss all of what's been happening. And today,
Yeah.
we're going to cover some of that for you, anywhere from OpenAI to Anthropic to Seedance to Xbox. We're going to cover it all, talk about everything. And if you'd like for us to deep dive into some of those topics, let us know in the comments, and we'll for sure do a follow up video on those.
For sure. And also, we want to touch on some of the productivity tools for our entrepreneurs. Now it's time, really, like as you're trying to, you can be an entrepreneur if you're still in corporate and you have a, kind of side hustle or something you're working on, or a full entrepreneur. There is a lot of tools you kind of leverage now, but also there's some caution. We'll talk about it later. So if you're looking at starting an AI agency, or if you're one of the ones trying to market AI productivity and things of that nature. A lot of stuff to worry about. FTC is kind of they're really kind of weighing in on that now. So we'll touch on that a little bit later with more details. But go ahead, Deuce.
Yeah, man, I don't even know where to start. Things, like I said, have been moving so fast. But since we are covering this first quarter of 2026, I want to start here. The big bet I had of 2025 was a
Here we go.
full.
Here,
Listen, I
that's day
gotta bring
one.
it back in.
That's day one.
Listen. We talked about having a uh, fully vetted and Hollywood produced AI ready movie at the end of 2025. That was my big bet. However, I wouldn't say it missed, but it was on track. However,
Yeah.
what's been happening now, man, it's insane. Dance 2.0 has dropped from ByteDance, the owners of TikTok, and combine that with the powers of HiggsField AI. Man, the AI world has been going crazy with recreations of movies and
Man, the IP has been going
iterations.
everywhere.
It's been wild. There
It's
have
been
been
wild. You have to be under a rock not to see some kind of video, specifically Seedance. Higgsfield is kind of bringing everything together, and I know they have their own. I believe they
right.
have their own model, but they stitch everything together under their platform. But specifically, just honing in on Seedance, Deuce. Man, I've seen Ninja Turtle. I've seen any piece of IP that you can have. They have Ninja
Listen,
Turtles
I've seen
fighting
Dragon Ball Z
Pokemon and all
fighting
everything,
Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying?
everything. Yes,
Goku
yeah.
and Iron Man.
Which now here's what I want to get to, and what I want to ask you, the audience, and everything. Wouldn't it be cool? Like, this is opening up. Like, the cool thing is, like, we need these type of crossover films. Like, this is like all of these things. I get IP and all this other stuff, but it does open it up to where, like, man, it would be cool to have some of these crossover films, and like that content you see it resonates. They're going viral because
Man,
they're like seeing, like,
these
they're going
crossover
viral.
films are
It's
things
going crazy.
of fantasy dreams. So it's like if
Exactly. Exactly.
this was this is like if I were to have a dream and like Iron Man was there and Goku and all these other people
Yeah.
were there and they were in the
The
dream.
closest thing
That's
we had was Ready Player One. That was like one movie. Remember that? They had like
listen,
a lot of IP
but
all
that's
together.
that's what
And
it was
yeah.
though. Like Ready Player One literally put all that together
Yep.
because of the book. And if you guys are readers, Ready Player Two, go read that because that one brings even more stuff together if you're
Yeah.
thinking about what's happening with AI, right? But yes, the video creation and collaboration, and everything is moving extremely fast.
Yeah, it's moving really crazy. For like entrepreneurs, like all of those things. Like if you're in content creation realm right now, I mean, like the doors open for a lot. Like the days of like years ago, you used to always like, work with these different models. We had to learn how to, prompt them really good. Like now these are opened up a lot to where like, they're really getting good. They do multiple clips and angles and, take in reference images. They use a lot of those things. So you can still have your own specific workflow. And then, if you're setting up automations with video or something like that behind the scenes, a lot of them have APIs available that you can tap into and that way you can like really fine tune things of that
Yeah,
nature. But long story short is the only thing is, of course, is like we said, is right now it's a little spicy because of the whole IP issues. Like some of the, ByteDance, the company that owns Seedance, also the company I think TikTok, right? They own TikTok, but they're
for now.
you know yeah, right now, like I don't know if it's officially here in the States yet, but that's one of the things like using their models, of course, usually just like Sora, but when Sora first came out and I think Vio, you remember when these models come out to make a big splash, they loosen the IP and then they kind of close down on it. So
Of
I think
course.
before you really get your hands on it, they'll close down a lot on that, to really open in the
Well,
market here. But yeah, it did make a
speaking of
splash though.
Sora, news of course just dropped that OpenAI is killing Sora off. Sora 2
Rest in peace. Rest in peace,
has
man.
long lived its tenure, and also along with that, the IP deal with Disney
With Disney.
is
Yeah.
dead in the water as well.
Now, could we see this coming? Because if you, and maybe we'll go back to the clip and insert that in, but when it just first hit, you and I were just talking, we got it pretty much day one, day two. We had some
Right.
connections or whatever. So we were able to get in there early and we were like, oh, I remember it was invite only. And it was, like everybody was wanting to get on Sora and get in there. And like we were making videos and everything. And could you tell at that point, it seemed like it was on such a good trajectory. Like I didn't see this coming at all. So from your
I will
side,
say
what do
this.
you think?
I didn't see it coming so soon. However, I did see a steep drop off, even from my personal usage. Like I was using it almost every day. It was cool. It was fun. But like after they shut down some of the IP, they constrained some of it. It kind of
That's
lost
what
its
it,
aura, right? It's kind of lost its appeal. And it just kind of fell off flat that way. However, I
so
will
is
think,
that it? Is that the
no,
sticky
hold
like
on. I don't think so.
yeah,
I
is
think
that
the real reason, though, OpenAI
okay?
decided so how do I word this? They their competitors are getting a lot closer than they want, and it's making them uncomfortable. Sam Altman's uncomfortable, and he's like, in my opinion, this is Deuce's 2 cents on this. We got to stick to the main thing. Keep the main thing,
Oh
okay?
yeah. The main thing has
And
to be the
they
main thing.
have
I
to
get all
trim the
that.
fat on because you got to think OpenAI, and we've talked about this. OpenAI had a lot of the marketplace. They had a lot of the share of the market, and they were spreading out very, very fast. Like, yes, they had their basic
Well, yeah, they
LLMs
had the
and
web
GPTs.
browser, Atlas, and all the other stuff they were doing.
Right,
Yeah, yeah.
right. But they were doing everything. Sora. They were doing, their image. What was the image? The image in the one they had. They were doing everything, and they were
Well,
just
they
like, okay,
had
we got to
Dolly
slow down.
originally, then that's moved over to
Yeah,
Image Gen. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which I think
man.
they're still going to keep the image generator. I think video because video is costly. A
Oh
lot of,
yeah, I
I
think
mean,
they're going
like
to
the
keep that.
generation. Yeah, yeah. They
But I
are. They
think
already announced that
if
they
you think
are. Yeah.
about if you think about their business model, which we've talked about a lot as well, and how they are not making any money, even though that deal with Disney would have did them very well, they decided to figure out, you know what, let's stick with strengthening our LLMs, our GPTs, and going that route. And I don't think Sora was in the mix for that because it just was losing them a lot of money. You got to think, you know how many times people were hitting them servers like every second, minute,
Cooking 'em. We were. I mean,
cooking
that
them.
that first. You remember that first month, man? Man,
Look,
they were.
they
I
didn't
mean,
have a cap on it. When we first got it, you could
yeah. You
put
could
up
just put.
drafts like I probably had 10 to 15 in there waiting for
Yeah.
them to build. Now they cap you at what, 3?
Yeah. So going back to what I was saying is like I wasn't talking about like them what they wanted to focus on. I think we get all that because Sam Altman did come out, they made a statement and everything like that. They do want to go back to the bread and butter. So you're 100% correct because, and I think you alluded to that in one of the videos because they had the big market share, but then everybody like started to kind of close in. And I was saying, hey man, Google's starting to
They
really start
catching up.
cooking and all that. But what I'm saying is the IP factor. Do we think that's what's the stickiness factor with all of these? Because look, think Seedance made this
Yeah,
huge wave right now, Deuce, because the IP opened up and people, and I think as consumers and users, just to have fun, like people want to have that creativity and use their favorite characters or people that they've liked. Like, you know, if you're in the Superman or if you're in the Black Panther or whomever that you're into, like you may really want to, you know, do something, you know, with that character or something like that. And of course, as long as it's not like crazy, but like I think that's what really gets people
I
into it.
agree.
And then I'm wondering if when they pull that back, does it deaden it?
I think you're 100% right. And I'm gonna tell you why. This is my take on that whole IP thing. The IPs realize like that it's a gold mine in a sense that, hey, you're using our property and now we want, but there's no hard and fast rules right now about how to monetize this because it's different. It's a new space, right?
Yeah,
However, think about this. There was an actor out there who got paid $1 million and never shot a video. They used I forget which AI company it was. They used his likeness to cast him in a AI web series or
yes.
small short series. Cast used his likeness and he got paid for that. Now, if you start thinking that way and IP, okay,
I mean, I can see
now we're on
that.
to something.
So, like, if we
Okay.
speculate a little bit, would it be that hard for somehow these companies to work a deal? Like, what I imagine would have happened behind the scenes with Sora and Disney is like, if you invoke, like, if you're in your prompt, if you prompt and say, you know, have Captain Marvel and, you know, all these Marvel characters, right, from Disney, like, if you prompt them in, then per prompt, maybe it's a fee or a cost, like, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that, that's
Yeah.
associated with bringing them in. And then if you don't prompt them, you're fine. So, like, I think there has to be a way for both sides to win because you would think that these companies may want to see a cool concept that's put together by a super creative person, right? That maybe they're not thinking of that blows up. Like there's a lot of viral ones, like the one you said. I think it was who'd you say it was? It was Goku and I saw a lot with the Power
Yeah, I've
Rangers and
seen a
like I said,
lot.
Turtles. Like, yeah. So and if those ones that are going viral, then companies can look at like, oh, maybe we can do a co-branding deal or something like that and build this into reality. Like, I think there's a lot of ideas that are there, and I feel like they should be able to work some kind of deal out to like you prompt it, then you get charged or whatever the case is, or like you know you get a
You want
or
to
you pay
know
extra per month subscription wise.
one thing that I think, and this is just hypothetically, or just it's just my own thoughts, and opinions, because this is what happened in that boardroom between OpenAI and Disney. Disney is a very proud company, I think, just from what I've heard about people who've worked there or just stories. Disney has a rich history of their animation and how they've created their characters and their storyboarding of creating their animated movies, whether it's
Yeah,
Pixar, whether it's Marvel, right? Even with all the CGI stuff. And I think that Sora coming or OpenAI is coming to the table with Sora and being able to recreate this in the blink of an eye and not using some of the animation techniques that Disney probably wanted to use. They're probably like, you know what? I don't know about this. We're gonna have to go back and forth with this a couple times. Like I said, look, this is just my little 2 cents. I bet
maybe
you, look, because if you think about, like I said, Disney is a very proud company. They own a lot of stuff and they have a lot of
they
power.
do, man. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Disney, I wouldn't put it past them saying like, nah, you got to use our way to do this, and there's got to be a way we can do this better. Open Air is like, yeah, nah, bro, this we do it too fast. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't
that's just
know.
my
I
take.
mean,
I
I
don't know.
think
Hey, that's just another
yeah, I
side,
think
devil's advocate.
yeah. I think the crux of a lot of that is well, one, that deal was going to happen, I think, until you know they decided to wind down Sora like OpenAI. But I think just going forward, I think like if you know maybe it's Disney or whoever can work out a way to where like maybe you pay for a subscription if you're a creator, right? Like you and I, like we use a lot of AI tools, of course, all the time extensively, right? So if you are maybe there's a package or whatever that includes some of the IP, and then you know then that's you know you pay $20 extra more a month on your subscription to kind of use it. It still has
Right, right,
guardrails,
right.
of course. Like you can't do nothing crazy or explicit. But either way, you know, like that's just something, you know, that definitely I want to see how that unfolds, see if there's companies
Of
that will do
course.
another Disney type deal in there if we can actually
I
see
would love
what
to
it
see
looks
it.
like. Yeah, I would have loved to see what Sora would have looked like when it allowed that and what the business model was, like what the plan was and how they planned on leveraging that. But I would imagine that would be something what it is. Like you would have had to pay more per subscription or something along
Could
those
you
lines.
could you imagine being an IP lawyer or just a fly sitting on the wall and sitting on the wall in that meeting as an IP lawyer? Man, when I say that they are about to get paid as IP lawyers because they're
Man,
going to earn their paycheck trying to figure out the new laws surrounding
yeah.
this stuff.
And they can't, man. I mean, they
Is that a
just
thing? Is that
yeah,
something where a law is new laws will have to, well, of course, new laws have to be created.
yeah, for sure.
You
Yeah.
have to almost rewrite a whole textbook and you have to take new class. Like, how do lawyers extend their education? Do they just go back and read, or do you have to recreate it themselves? Because
Well, no.
I'm not a lawyer. I got a couple friends. Well, maybe I need to call a couple of my buddies and see how that is. Maybe I should go to law school and become a AI lawyer or something because they about to get
Hey, man.
paid. They're IP lawyers, man.
Well, keeping this in the same vein of that to keep us moving also is like, so what I was alluding to before is the FTC crackdown. So I don't know, Deuce, I'm sure you've heard, audience, that
Of
you've probably
course.
seen and you've been on the social medias, you've probably seen all in LinkedIn, like all of these social platforms, whatever it is, you will see some company on there saying that they're AI automation agency or AI automation company or whatever the case is. And they're going to promise they've been targeting small business owners that aren't really familiar with the tech stack. And basically, it hits home with us is because this is also what we legitimately help small businesses out with also. But what I'm learning is the way that they pitch these super unrealistic, like benefits
Uh-huh.
of just like like cost benefits. So they've really been charging a lot of these small businesses like crazy amounts of money to say, oh, you'll get this, you'll recoup this in 6 months or whatever the case is. So I'm just throwing out a number. They'll charge a small business 20,000 to set them up with this automation and promise them that it'll get them 150% more leads and it doesn't sleep and like all of these things because now I can do voice and it's multi-channel, can kind of have everything. So they're just basically promising the world, and not saying that these
Right.
automations and improvements and enhancements won't move the needle at all. But I mean, like I guess what they're promising overextends. But the long story short, the FTC is starting to crack down on those business in the box type scams. So in March, the FTC dropped the hammer pretty much on a lot of them. So and that's directly from the Federal Trade Commission's their own press release. And they've been issuing like up to $18 million judgments for
Man,
these people that were impacted by this, in some of the cases. So either way, what it is like there's no more Wild West of you just saying it's an AI agency and you're just like making all these false claims and everything. You could be potentially facing severe regulatory scrutiny. Long story short,
that's
so you know you want to make sure for if you're legitimate, you're good, and all those
right.
same business practices. But if you guys are out there, with these scammy artificial intelligence pitches of like just crazy, unrealistic return on investments, and you'll do rapid prototyping and all that, you can risk it for the biscuit if you'd like to, but don't say we didn't warn you.
I
Don't
think
say
that
we didn't
it's
warn
it's
you.
been long overdue. We've talked about this in at length about regulations or certain things needs to be regulated, right, and controlled
Yeah,
and monitored. And I think that is a very fair thing to do, just because, hey, this is a whole, like you said, wild, wild west. We don't know much about it, and we don't know the after effects of what's going on. So I'm glad, the FTC jumped on this early enough for people to still take into account what's been happening. Granted, there
yeah,
are
man.
have been some probably people who have been affected negatively in ways. Some may even positively, but still, I think that is great. The FTC is taking account for charging
Yeah.
those companies and those things for these.
Yeah, I mean, our small businesses are the backbone of the country. Everybody knows that. We have to protect them at all costs. Like, be legitimate. Don't just promise something that's just crazy and unrealistic. Like, specifically trying to target people. That's wild. But definitely want to keep that clean. Also, what we need to get onto as we kind of segue over is Xbox. We've been talking a lot about Xbox and just them as a company,
Dun,
Microsoft in
dun,
general. A lot of
dun.
updates, but a big one is their Project Helix. That was also under our big Q1, all the things that we've been talking about. But Project Helix, which is Xbox's new console, that's rumored to come out, I think, next year. I doubt it's going to come out the end of this year, but I believe it's 2027. You guys can fact check me in the comments. 2027. So the one thing about this new console and why it's kind of has the industry kind of curious is because really Microsoft is saying it's a PC, but it can play console games. And this is Microsoft is, Xbox is traditionally a pure, set-top box console. So now, with this new approach, even with the developers that are working with it, everything, it's like basically build the PC version first, and then they'll work with you to kind of making the Xbox version of it and everything like that. But with some of the movement that we talked about earlier, it was like when the leadership in Xbox has shifted over, and it was the person that was leading a lot of Microsoft's AI features and all of those things are now leading Xbox. The TLDR, and I said this maybe last year, maybe even the year before that, we're going to see an Xbox Copilot and like, just more because now that you have PC, and they also just released recently the Xbox mode for Windows 11, which basically will take over your computer and kind of put it in like a typical console HUD screen and everything like that. It's just melding those two worlds. Deuce, what do you think that means for the industry? What kind of improvements do you see? How do you think this Xbox Copilot that I'm pretty sure is going to come out? What do you think all that's going to be about? What's your take?
Well, first, I'm gonna tell you what it means for
What's them
me.
2 cents?
I'm gonna tell you what it means for me. Just in time for me to finish building my PC. I got a new PC build that
Oh,
I've been
here we
working
go.
on, and
Here we go.
yes, just in time for me to finish it right on time. But no, I think that for the industry, it's going to be interesting to see how those two worlds can mold and meld together. And those two worlds, meaning the PC gaming and a regular video console gaming worlds. If for those who don't know, PC gamers and gaming in general is a whole nother step up in level than regular video games, right?
Mhm.
And it just they do go together, but it's just different. Like so being that seeing that the Project Helix is bringing that functionality to putting both worlds together is going to be very, very cool. I think
I
just see how the
mean,
co-pilot works. I mean, it's it's just going to be a sandbox of greatness. I think that it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for new world developers. Yeah, it's going to be great because you got to think. All right, think about this. Think about how far computer gaming and gaming in general has come. Right,
yeah.
right. And I remember I was talking with someone, and I was like, I remember being in school, young, playing Oregon Trail. What's the Oregon Trail game
Yeah. Hey man,
on the
I
school
don't know nothing
computer?
about that. You ain't about to date me. No, I don't know I heard about that.
Listen, listen, that Oregon Trail game on the computer with the big floppy disk. Okay,
Man.
and so that's granted. Yes, that was all what computer gaming was, but you got to think. Like we're coming from that to now we got Steam engines and people building Raspberry Pis just to play on anything and the way gaming has transformed over the years and I'm grateful to say like granted to see how it's transformed into what this is going to be now, it's literally, like you said, the next level of where we're at. And
Yeah,
not to
man.
keep going back onto one of our favorite movies, but Ready Player One, here we go.
Here we go. Here we go. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. Well, I mean, and also conversely, like Meta recently shutting down the metaverse, and because they had spent a lot of money
I
there, a lot
was
of
getting
marketing
there.
and hardware. Yeah, so like the, but just to just stick on Microsoft real quick. I mean, with this play, I think this opened up a new lane. So content creators again, or just any way that you can kind of fit it. But I think really with content creators, like this opens up a whole new segment. So, Deuce, you're going to see a lot of videos now that once this Copilot, and I think I stand corrected that they actually did go ahead and announce their gaming Copilot at GDC recently. So the gaming
Yeah,
developer conference in 2026. So they did announce it already. But I had talked about like my hunch was already on that, like they were going to do this. But now you're going to see people testing out when you go on YouTube and things like that. Like, hey, how does it handle for this jam or how does it handle for that? Because now it's vision aware, so it can watch what you're doing, give you tips and tricks, and maybe you'll be able to talk to it and say, hey, what inventory item is better, or whatever the case is in whatever kind of game you play, or in Madden, like you were talking about. You were saying that you're gonna have AI tell you which play, like, hey, this is how the defense is lined up. How
man.
should I run the play?
Hey,
Which
hey,
I think that'll
Microsoft.
be crazy. I think they need to
Hey,
not do
Microsoft.
that. That's gonna cause
Microsoft
fights right there.
or
That's
EA
gonna cause
Games. Come
fights
here.
right there. Yeah.
Listen, if you need some ideas, come holler at your boy.
That's gonna cause some fights right there, man. Talking about like you using that AI, that's cheating. But anyway, I digress to say is it's like it's gonna be interesting. So if you are in the content creation realm, like that's something definitely an angle that you might want to bring into. Yeah.
I would say another angle, not even just content creation, video game creators. And whatever that looks like in the next couple of years, because we know that landscape is also changing as far as
Well, they're
how
also
coding
using AI for,
and
yeah, for,
vibe coding, right? But
yeah,
however, video game designers, what this is going to do is going to unlock the next wave of territorially transcendent gaming, right? And what that can look like for a lot of things. And like I'm talking like different type of gaming rigs, different type of haptic abilities, right? And in this world of augmented reality glasses and headsets, who knows what's gonna happen, right? Like, one of
it's
the
gonna be crazy,
controllers
man.
might come with that on the Project Helix. So I think it's going to just
So
bring a new world, and of course, Windows again leading from the front. Like Windows, I don't think. I mean, they're never going to take a dip, right? The great company as far as how they've shaped themselves or recreated themselves over the years, right?
yeah,
And they've
Microsoft's been,
always
they've been doing a lot, even though they just
they've
had
been
that
solid.
divestment by Chase for
Well,
whatever reason. I think,
yes, that
yeah, they
listen,
had their, and
my
then their stock was a little bit different, but
my
like that's
portfolio
neither
took
here
a
nor
hit.
there. Yeah.
Look, yeah,
Yeah,
look,
yeah, yeah. That they had some
I was looking at that
divestiture. Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's an interesting take. But I mean, yeah, all in all, you're right. Like, and one thing that I was gonna say that you mentioned is it's like, so the question to you, we have PC plus Xbox kind of into one box, or the PlayStation 6. And I think you've been between both systems. So PS6, which is rumored price wise to be, I think they said between $500 and $700, and this Xbox, the new Helix, is rumored as it is right now to be as much as $1,200, because what they're doing is they're trying to undercut, they're trying to give you the PC experience, so the PC hardware, but at a closer to console price. So you're supposed to be really good graphics and all this other stuff. And
Yeah,
then of course you get all the AI features and everything like
listen,
that. So are you going up here, or are you staying with PS6, or are you just gonna go with the one you building?
look, and listen. I love PlayStation. It was my first console as a kid. However, I've been an Xbox boy for as
There
long
it
as I
is.
can remember
There, hey,
now.
get them in the comments. Go to get them. Look, 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 and look. I gotta throw myself out there. I
But
have
the
every
thing,
console,
I
so
will say
I don't
this
know, man. I have all of
honestly.
them
I don't know. I mean,
and
let's say
PC.
this. Let's say hopefully I'll have the time to game. Obviously, that does escape me more often than not
That is true.
nowadays,
That is true.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I would say my first knee-jerk reaction is that Xbox because I will most likely have my PC and it'll be easier for me to just hop on real quick. I would tell you this,
But
a
that
week or
opens
two
up
ago.
questions like, can you upgrade the GPU? Like, can you know what I mean? Like, 'cause if it's really going to be that PC, like what you're doing right now, you have the option to, because I think you told me you had that same case, right? And then you could
Yeah,
gut it, you could put in a new motherboard, you could do that. Like, what does
yes.
that actually mean with this Helix system? Is it going to have that, like, 2 years down the line, instead of doing the Xbox, whatever, like half generation thing, or the PlayStation 5 Pro like they have by now? Maybe they're going to say, hey, here's the new GPU or what, or APU, or whatever,
We love the new
you know,
GPUs.
hardware. Yeah. Or they're gonna just let you kind of plug and play. So a lot of
Listen.
questions around there, man.
I don't know, but I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, it'll
For
stay for a
sure.
while. Unlike what Facebook and the metaverse, they did not stay for a while.
Yeah. I mean,
Actually,
they
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 stayed long
tried.
enough. But I'm gonna tell you this: do you remember when people were paying top dollar to
Oh
buy
yeah.
virtual land in the
Virtual
metaverse,
real estate, man. Somebody
virtual
probably
real
still own
estate?
property in there. Yeah. Virtual real estate in
But
the
listen,
metaverse. So I wonder how that goes.
to live next door to, or not live, I'm sorry, to be placed next door to Snoop Dogg's virtual real estate.
Yeah.
And I'm not advertising for this at all. I'm not promoting this, but do you realize how much scamming could have really happened in the metaverse? And
I
people
don't
would have
know,
never
man.
really known. I mean, of course they got the tokens and everything to kind of crack down on that fraud if Facebook wanted to, but I don't think people took advantage. The scammers took enough advantage of how metaverse was
I
really a
don't know,
wild
man.
west.
I know there's scammers everywhere, man. But I mean, yeah. So that is definitely something that
And
probably
listen,
could
I'm
have been
not
exploited,
promoting
and
that
maybe that
or
was some. Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. We get all that. Well, I'm just saying, like maybe that's something that they factored in. Also, we're making that decision, and then I'm sure the
absolutely.
usage just
But
wasn't
also the
what it
use
was.
case,
Yeah,
wasn't there. It wasn't something I guarantee you after those first legit 6 months that it was announced, I hadn't even heard about it. Like granted, I knew it was still there and I forgot, but I don't own an Oculus. I don't know how many people own Oculus. I don't
I
think
don't
that
know,
it's a
man.
huge population for that.
I think it was just too early, because sometimes that does. Because remember
Way
Google
too early.
Glass, right? Like Google Glass, like
way
you and
too
I
early.
both were like on that, like in like just AR in general, right? So I
Man,
think we were on a lot of that so early, right? And that's a couple where our patents come from. So I'm thinking it was just really that they might be early because going back to Ready Player One, if that's gonna be true, when the hardware really gets to that fact where you can get that more Oasis type vibe, I think maybe it will be. So I don't think that they were off. I just think it might have been too early because the hardware wasn't just like where it would like really immerse you like that as well. So
the other
it
thing,
might have just been too early potentially, but we'll see. Only
definitely
time
too
will
early, but
tell.
I don't think they even put enough. Maybe I'm not. I
I mean, they had
might not be able to
commercials.
speak on
I
it.
think they were
They had
on like
commercials,
Super Bowl. Yeah.
but I was going to say I don't know if they put enough into it. Really, like
Mm,
they didn't have enough focus on it. I mean, granted, yes, I know they had a dedicated team. They had a whole sector, but to me, I feel like not enough. We'll say this in this frame. Not enough casuals were talking about it. You know what I'm saying?
mm.
Like the people who were talking about it using it were very
It didn't get
techie,
deep
very
enough
into
market
that realm.
penetration.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, the people
Yeah.
who they wanted on there, like there's no point of it for regular people to care enough about it.
Yeah, man. We'll see. I mean, like I know the future will tell. Like I think it will definitely circle, not maybe just metaverse, but whatever evolution of that, like
Yeah,
Stadia. Like that's a
that's
spot for
different.
us. But I'm just
That's
saying,
the
like now there's no. But I'm just saying, like if we got to go there, we got to go there. We got to rip that bandit off because the thing is, like Nvidia has their streaming service, Nvidia Now, and then like of course Xbox still has theirs, PlayStation. All of them still have it, but it was just like Google, they were early, they were doing it, but they also backed out of it early, which I think they could have really won. Like that was one of my favorite, services. It worked very well, but it just got that bad press. And I think again, it was early. But either way, to keep us moving, we'll definitely see about that. One more thing to touch on real quick about Microsoft is the Copilot co-work. So Deuce, and definitely our entrepreneurs, anybody that has access to this is a feature that's slowly rolling out. But Microsoft just announced it with their wave three, what this does for you. So imagine with your work tools, so PowerPoint, Word, and all of these things. Now in their Copilot chat, you can kind of invoke it and say, hey, like at work, if you have this at work, if you're an entrepreneur and you're still working, this will help your productivity like crazy, or just employees, whatever the case is. Use this feature because now it can pull from your data set. So if you have like an Excel spreadsheet with real data, if you have some other insights wherever you're pulling from, and you say, hey, build me another Excel, build me a presentation in Word document or something like that, the agent will go off and start preparing and building these things. It's thinking things through and everything like that. Is very much like Claude Cowork is where they base this off of. And Microsoft and Claude have been moving in closer and closer together. Microsoft's Copilot now leverages Opus and uses Claude's models, including Opus 4.6 and all of that. So what I'm saying is, a lot of people, I think this will help you out tremendously with some of those tedious tasks that you have before, because a lot of us, especially when you get into professional, as you get up the ladder, it's just content creation. You're creating PowerPoint decks, you're creating Excel, creating and editing Excel files and all this. And now there's still, some tweaks and everything. The agent modes that were in both the PowerPoint and Excel and Word, they're there, and this kind of stitches them all together. So TLDR, Copilot, Cowork, when you have access to it, if your company pays for that, definitely something that you want to do. It builds in their work IQ that they have together. Definitely, definitely, I would say to leverage that.
I was just talking with a friend of mine, and I think they are using this as well at their company, a Copilot co-work, and it's pretty great as far as like you said, bringing in all your tools, helping in what you need for planning, meeting, right? It brings all that together, especially if you have the full suite. I think
Yeah.
it's great. I think it's a great another way, like Microsoft is literally quietly just stepping up the ladder and increasing what they're doing well.
Now they did piggyback off, and they admitted like to piggyback the
Of
idea
course.
from Claude Cowork, which has been crazy. We'll have another episode on Claude Cowork because that personally like is a personal assistant, and now they're enabling that to. And I think originally it was something different, but now it seems like they have some features that kind of compete with what OpenClaw was, and also then Perplexity computer like so. All of these kind of in that. I'm very interested to see what Google does. We have GDC coming up, man. We just have so much coming up. That's why Deuce and I really today we were just like, man, we have so much content that we had banked up to talk about, like all the things. So we're going over all this because there's just been a lot going on and definitely more to come. But either way, Copilot, Cowork, if you have access to that yet, and I know they're slowly rolling those features out for people to use. I think it's in their frontier mode. I would definitely check that out, and that should make work life a little bit easier. And for our entrepreneurs,
Absolutely.
definitely accelerate, pitch decks or whatever that you need created based off meetings. So yeah,
Absolutely. Speaking of, I know we kind of touch base on Anthropic or Claude in general, but did you
yeah.
catch the shade that Claude threw at ChatGPT? They had a commercial talking about some
The commercial, yeah, 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 yeah.
but basically saying
About ads,
ads are coming to your AI, but not at Claude. And I said, man, and no, we've been talking about the AI wars, and it is strong, bro. And it is only
yeah,
getting
man.
spicier and dicier. Okay.
Yeah, and OpenAI did not like that at all. I think there was a response to that, just like
What
saying,
the
"Well, we
response
don't,
was? We gonna kill off Sora, and we gonna go double down on GPT.
we gonna do that. We're going for it." But here's the thing: is like you're right on that because what they said that they're gonna focus on is exactly what Anthropic has been focusing on. Anthropic doubled down instead of creating all this other stuff. They focused on catering to developers, and so that's where their
Okay,
coding models, like everybody was using that, and then
exactly.
businesses. So
But you
so
remember
that's who they cater to.
I said this, I don't know how long ago, but I know I remember saying this. If a business focus on what they are good at, they don't need to worry about expanding out, which is why Apple dropped Apple Intelligence and they kind of fell out quietly from the AI race, right? Because they knew they were going to lose that pony. They were going to lose that show. They focus on what they do well, their devices, right?
I mean, they still in it. They just running their
I'm
own
not saying,
marathon. Like I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think it's a marathon approach because like I'm pretty
but
sure that it
it is
will
a
eventually
marathon approach.
unfold.
Okay, okay. Look, you remember when they had all the commercials? They were pushing Apple Intelligence, pushing it.
Yeah,
They were
heavy.
pushing so
Yeah,
hard, like they were.
it was on heavy
Where's it
rotation.
at? Where's
Yeah,
it been? I'm not saying it's not
yeah.
there, but also same thing with OpenAI. We've talked about how they've been doing so well. They've been they've been ramping up everything. They've been ramping here, and quietly is kept. Like you said, Anthropic has been focusing on what they do well
They
and
have.
catching
They
up
have.
steam. And I'm talking catching hot fire. Google is Google. They're just a different beast, different animal. But Google
Google
has been
still was the
cooking
best,
with
well
hot
positioned.
grease.
Yeah, man.
Google has been cooking with hot grease on all
I
levels.
think Google's looking around like that's cute, everybody. That's cute.
I
But
mean,
when
the thing
GDC
is,
come,
Google is like
they think
like the big brother. Like everybody's an ant. Like cool. I'm a look. All right. I'm gonna let you get your little.
I'm gonna
You
let
remember
you do your
Sid in
little
Toy
yeah.
Story? He had the magnifying glass. He was just playing with the ants, toying with them, was a little boxing them in. That's what Google's doing.
Yeah,
Google's boxing you in, letting you play around, run around, and all of a sudden,
no
shoo.
man.
That's what Google is doing.
But if memory serves me, the crazy part about all of this, just to tie it all together, and is that I believe OpenAI, the reason why it was founded and called OpenAI, the whole drama about that, but the whole point is it's like because they were worried about that consortium of people that started OpenAI were worried about who? Google. And now with the
Now,
way OpenAI went is trying to be a private company and it kind of diverged and all this stuff happened. And now here
yeah,
we are again where Google is like, so what was up? Was it all for
your worst
nothing to
nightmare
kind of
came
make this a
true.
that's what like. I'm trying just as I think through it, right? I could be wrong, but I'm just saying, like, if I logically think through it, like that was the what was rumored was the original reason why, and then here we
Of
are
course,
now,
no,
where
I believe it. If you go
GDC's
outside and
coming
look
up,
for
and I think
Debo,
Google's yeah,
if you go outside and look for Debo, you're gonna find him.
you
I
gonna find
promise you,
them,
right?
yeah.
But now, what you gonna do? What you gonna do in OpenAI, right?
Yeah, I
And
mean, and Google just has
but
all the data. They have all YouTube.
hold
They
on.
just have it
I
all.
think they still got a trick up their sleeve. Remember, I also said AI always has something up their sleeve. If something drops, they got something up their sleeve. They still have
OpenAI,
Johnny. They still have
we'll
Johnny
see
IV developing that
with the
device,
hardware.
that
Yeah, yeah,
wearable
that's true.
device. And I don't know. I've seen a rumor, and I don't know how true it was, but it was kind of I think when you sent it to me, or we sent it to each other, but it was kind of that wearable piece in the ear that
Yeah,
looked kind of cool. I don't know how true it is, but they are
I don't
still
know, man.
cooking
Hey,
on something.
but now do you think with them winding back, do you think that gets cut too? There's Deuce's 2 cents question right there. Oh, you
No,
think they keep it? Deuce,
nah,
really? You think they're gonna
man,
keep that hardware? Man, nah. I think
because
it's
I'm gonna say this because so one of the things that they are trying to get into is that they're trying to break that third wall. The only thing that they don't have that they can't compete with Google or Apple or those other companies is a physical device. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Like software is cool,
hardware. You need hardware. Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Google is Google. Like I
And even
said,
Apple
Google's a,
has that, right?
you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Google's
yeah,
Google. They're gonna do. Google has whatever they want, right?
yeah.
But
Google is
to break
just
that third wall, OpenAI, and I think they're on the cusp, but which is why they had to refocus, which essentially I think is what they're doing
we'll
as a
see. I mean,
business.
that's interesting. That's interesting because I mean,
That
maybe with
is
the additional revenue stream, if they can pull it together, because the thing about Google and the reason why I reference them is because they don't need money from their AI. You know what I mean? Like
they
they make
don't
money from ads, they make money from their hardware. Like they have now, granted, a lot of it's bigger than other, but we understand their portfolio, and AI is like. So that's what enables them to kind of do
exact
more things. Like
exactly
OpenAI,
why
this
they're the
is
big
what they
brother,
do. Yeah, that's why they.
right?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, so like they don't.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
this is what
yeah,
OpenAI does, and that's why they're like, we got to break that third wall because they can't right now. And I tell you what, think about it though. Another reason, another speculation of why Sword 2, failed. Nobody else cared about it. Google didn't drop an app similar to it. Meta
yeah.
kind of did,
I'm
right?
interested in GDC, man. I don't know.
They might, but the thing is this, like, it wasn't scary enough for them to be like, oh, we need to have a social media style, a social media-esque app to create AI videos that you put yourself in, right? And that's just
Yeah.
like I said, this is my speculations. But OpenAI is like, we need to get serious about, like I said, that partnership with Johnny Ive is serious. You know what I mean? I think that he's not going nowhere. They're still working on whatever they got.
Okay. We're gonna see.
That's
Two
that's
cents.
my hot take on this.
Okay, I got you.
You heard it here first.
I don't know, man. I'm wondering if that's one of the stuff that gets cut. But I mean, like, I hear what you're saying. Potentially, if it does do well, then that would another revenue stream that would get them in hardware, and that would be a thing as well. But it's just gonna be interesting. There's a lot going on in this space.
Hey man, listen. You look, you already know what I got. Don't ask where I get my sources, but I think that's what it's going to be. But I could also foresee them having a big partnership drop soon. They're probably going to announce some type of partnership, with someone, somewhere, some company.
We'll see.
That's I don't know. But
Hey,
let us
don't
know
come
your
up
thoughts,
missing.
right?
Don't come up missing.
Let us know. Look, hey, DJ, look, we've covered a lot today, and I know it's a
Yeah.
mouthful for you guys, listeners and watchers to chew. Let us know what your favorite take was, what your thoughts are on any of the things we covered, anywhere from OpenAI to Project Helix to the metaverse, anything, right?
Yeah.
Leave a comment, like, subscribe, share, and subscribe again. But also,
That'll make
if you
mine
want us
subscribe.
if you want us to if you'd like to see us deep dive into any of those topics, we would gladly do a follow-up video. Let us know which ones interest you the most. And hey, we're here for you guys. Let you guys know what's been going on and what's going on with the going ons. But always, yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And when DJ, what else you got? Anything?
Oh, that's it, man.
All right, man. We'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.